So welcome. This is assignment given to me by Conscience Lab as assignment. So let's start the discussion. So we have to create microservice in which there should be two containers. One is Python consumer and another is node container. So first start with discussion from structure. So this is my microservice and I have two container in it, node and consumer, Python consumer, and I also have a Docker compose file. So this is my Docker compose file. So start with uh, this start our discussion with node container. So this is node container. We have environment file, docker file, and index.js file. So this is our main file, and this is our docker file, which is used for creating container. And this is .env file. I have included it for project demonstration, but it is not included in the image. So now start discussion. So I have used Express as a framework in my backend, and I am also using RabbitMQ as a messaging queue service provider. So in the assignment we have given that we have to send a post request to user, and we have to send name, email, and age to the user, and we have to first validate. So we are validating. This is a simple validation that we are checking that name is not null, email is not null, age is not null, and email is correct or not. So this is a simple request to check if the email is correct or not. And if it is not correct, then we are directly sending status 400 and invalid data as response. If it is correct, then we are moving further. So now first we are creating a connection with our RabbitMQ service. So after creating connection, we are creating a channel, and if channel is created successfully, then we are creating a user queue. So user queue, we are creating a queue named user queue. So if user queue is not present, then it will create a user queue. And now we are sending or storing our message, name, email, and age to our queue. So it will store into user queue as buffer. So after successfully storing the message, it will going to send a status 200 and data is user data is published. So it will going to execute after executing successfully. So it will going to send status 200. If there is some error, so it will going to send internal server error and response as 500. So this is what our node container will do. So this is our Python consumer. So this is also environment variable which is required for demonstration, and this is consumer.py which is main file, and this is a standard docker file for creating the container, and this is requirement.txt for pip installations or installing dependency. So now start with our main consumer.py. So first of all we are extracting our environment variables in, and now after extracting environment variable we are connecting to database, and we are fetching special collection named users. So we are connecting to collection named user here, and now we are connecting to RabbitMQ, and this is a blocking connection type. It is a blocking connection type, and we are connecting to channel, and we are checking if there is any new queue or new message is arrived in our queue. If it is, then it is going to fetch that message, and it is going to insert that message into our database, and after successfully inserting, it will going to print a simple message that user data saved to MongoDB. So this is the working that first a post request is sent by the user, and after receiving that post request, first a simple validation is run on the data. If it is correct data, then it is going to save those data into our RabbitMQ, and if new data is arrived to our RabbitMQ queue, then our consumer will check if the new data is arrived, then it will going to fetch that data and store that data into our MongoDB service. So before starting our demonstration, let me show you something. This is our MongoDB database, and let me show you that currently our user collection doesn't have any data. Let me refresh and show you again. It is going to take some time. Until then, I am going to show you that this is our RabbitMQ service provider, and currently we doesn't have any message in our queue. Let's refresh it also. Okay, so we don't have any message in our queue, and we also don't have any data in our user collection. So now, okay, open a new terminal and first check our images. So microservice.python consumer and microservice node app, these are our two images. Let us check if there is any image running or not. So currently there is no image running. So now compose up. So we are running our Docker. So it will going to start our Docker containers. So our Docker container is running, both microservices are running successfully. So let's verify that it is working fine or not. uh, Let me give name as test1. User data is published successfully, so and we are also getting status 200 that our data is published successfully there. So let's also put some more data into 3 3 4. Okay, I think this is enough. We have uh, saved enough data, and we also get status 200 for every post request. Let us check if data is received by our RabbitMQ and stored in our database or not. Mhm. So all the data is received successfully in our database. Test 1, test 2, test 3 and test 4 all are working perfectly fine, and we also doesn't have any pending queue in our RabbitMQ, so it is also working fine. So let me show you one more thing, that our queue is working fine or not. So first of all, let me first close this container, Docker container. This is my Docker compose file. I have put environment variable here, and these are two container, node and Python consumer. That's it about for it. Now let me go into node and run def. So I am running that index file, and for demonstrating that it is working correctly on and data is saving in our queue, let me feed some data into our queue. Got a 1 2 and 3. We have sent 3 messages to our queue, and if these messages are received by our queue successfully, then we should have 3 pending queue in our RabbitMQ, and we have 3 pending queue here also, so it is working correctly. We have 3 pending messages here. Now retrieve these messages. Now go to Python consumer and Python 3 consumer.py. Now consumer check if there is any pending queue, and if there is, then it start receiving those messages or consuming those messages. Now check if this message is saved in our DB or not. Let me refresh it from here. Okay, so all the data is received successfully. First 4 plus 3, now total 7. Got a 1 2 3. All the data is received successfully here also. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for listening to me.